Hello, girls and women out there. You are listening to Empowering Women with Celeste. And if you haven't guessed, that's me. I am the head of this channel, of this podcast or talks or whatever you want to call it. I do a little bit of a lot of things. Today is my very first kind of podcast type of talk. So I am very excited because this is a topic that is very important to me, very close to me, and I love to talk about these subjects, especially when it comes to us. So the purpose of this podcast, this channel, is to empower women and girls, any age, doesn't matter, to empower you, to make you feel stronger, to make you feel more secure, to help you find yourself, help you find your purpose, help you improve your health, help you improve your, both like mental, physical, and spiritual health. This is for all kinds of issues that we deal with as girls and women. I've had talks with other women about periods, about healing, about trauma release, and all of these things that we need to to find what we all actually really want deep down, which is to find happiness. And there are very different ways of doing that, of finding happiness. But I believe that we need a lot of these things, like healing our traumas, healing, changing our beliefs, and finding ourselves, that are very kind of crucial to find true happiness in life, because we can get happiness from material things. That's usually where we seek them. Like, we want the car, we want the new cell phone, we want the stress, we want the new shoes, we want these great things that are going to make us happy for like 5 seconds, or maybe a week, or maybe a month, and then that kind of drizzles down, and then we're seeking for the next thing that can make us happy. So one of the things that I want to help you do is find that more constant, more permanent kind of happiness in your life. So the topic for today is what relationship you have with yourself. And this comes from an interview or a video or something I watched yesterday that really kind of sparked a thought and it gave me kind of an insight. So, because most, especially women, especially girls and women, we are really good at taking things on ourselves. When we make mistakes, we hit ourselves in the head, and we get very mean to ourselves. So the question to you is, what relationship do you have with yourself? And I would like you to write this down. Find a notebook or a piece of paper or whatever, not computer or a cell phone preferably. You want to write it down in your hand, because it's just different. It makes a different, it gives a different, how do you say, feeling in your body when it comes out on paper. It's different than if you're sitting on a computer. It's just not the same process that you're going through. So, and by the way, if you noticed, I am not American or English, so English is my second language. So there will be a lot of times where I will be quiet, where I can't find the words, or I'm saying something that's off or grammatically incorrect, and that's just how it is. So the important thing is that you get the message, you understand what I'm saying, and that's it. So back to the topic. What relationship you have with yourself. So this is what I have been working on a lot myself. This is what I am constantly working on, because when all comes to all, the only thing you have is yourself. Your house or your apartment is gonna go away sometime because you're going to be moving probably. Your car is also going to go away because you will change it. The people in your life might die or might move, so you will lose them too. Like, life is constantly and ever changing. The only thing you do have as long as you are here on this earth is yourself, is your body, is your mind. These things that are limited to you. Everything else, the clothes that you're wearing, it's going to change. Everything else is going to change. And you can lose them. So that is why I feel like the work you're doing on yourself is very important, because you cannot get away from yourself. You cannot just say, okay, I don't want to be me, and then kind of throw away yourself. You have yourself, and that's the only thing you for certain know that you do have. So it's very important that you feel good about yourself, that you are the kind of person that you can live with, because you have to live with yourself for the rest of your life. So that is kind of that is the thing that we are doing right here and right now. We are working on loving ourselves. We are working on becoming better towards ourselves. We are working on healing the traumas that we have gotten through life, so that we can find a way to forgive ourselves and forgive the people in our life, so we're not holding on to this suffering that comes with holding regrets, or when something bad has happened to you. Like, those things need to be looked at, they need to be felt, and they need to be released, so you can be happy, so you can feel the love and feel the connection. And that is the most important thing, is that you have that to yourself. Because if you don't have it to yourself, it's really hard to give to others. You can, but it's probably not going to be authentic. It's really, really important that you love yourself, and that you love yourself so much that you will do these things for yourself, that you will start to set boundaries, that you will start to say no more to the things that are not good for you, and that you will start to say yes to the things that you have been afraid of saying yes to and doing, but you really, really wanted to. It could be like a career, it could be a sport you wanted to try, or an art form, or a person you wanted to talk to, or a place you wanted to go, but you were afraid to go alone, or you were afraid of what people were going to say, or it wasn't really you, or whatever. So this inner work it has become very popular for the last years, which is great, and it is for a reason, because we in the modern Western world now have most of the things that we need to survive. So 1,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, it was all about surviving. Now we are provided by, if we don't make money ourselves, we are provided with money so that we can sustain a life, so that we can get food, we can get warm and shelter, water, these things that we need to live, like completely down basic, to survive, to live. That we have, or most of us, I know it's not everyone, but most of us do. And if you're listening to me right now, I know you have a cell phone or a computer or something you're listening on, so I know that you also have the other things. So now we have the energy to to focus on something else, which is our happiness and our mental health. Because we know so much about the physical health now and how the body works, and that's also a very important thing, because they work very closely together. If the body's not feeling good, we're not feeling good, and if we're not feeling good, it affects our body, and it comes down in our system as sickness. You probably, if you have been working and you've been a little bit stressed, then what happens when you have vacation or you're off work, then your body gets sick. You get a cold, you get the flu or something like that, because then it starts to release all of the stress that you have been going through. Just an example. So they are so closely connected. So just a little bit of my background, because it kind of relates to this, is I have been working with the body. I have certification as a body therapist. I am a massage therapist. I have acupuncture and a lot of other courses relating to the body. Then I also have a certification as a Master Your Life Mentor. So, and I'm also a nerd. So I spend my free time reading books and watching videos and studying these subjects, because I feel like they're so essential. Like, this is something we need to know, and it's also because it's a huge interest for me. I'm very interested in the body, in physical health and mental health, because in some way I believe that that's what we're here to do. Like, we're here to live, and I definitely want to make the best out of this life as possible. I do believe in reincarnation in several lifetimes, but I'm not going to waste this one. I'm going to make the best I can out of this, which is why I'm doing so much healing work, so much trauma release, and spiritual work and inner work and so on, because every time I do that, I feel just a little bit lighter. I feel like another layer is coming off me. If we say that you're born completely pure into this world, completely naked, literally. And as you grow up, you get these beliefs, and you learn a lot of things about the world, and you learn how to act and be and what to do and how to speak and so on. And these things come as layers on your body. So you get these layers and layers of thoughts, of beliefs, of traumas, of experiences on your body. And every time we do this work, we take off layers of trauma. Like, we are healing traumas, we're releasing them, we're taking off beliefs that have been put on us, or things that we have believed, like all of these things. And the more we work on these, the more free we feel, the more we come down literally to the core of who we are, deep down. Because you are energy, you are a soul living in temporarily in a human body, having this experience of life on earth. So when we come down to this essence of who we are, is just that we are just soul. And when we get here, at least from my perspective, is that this is where we can kind of release all of the suffering that we are experiencing as humans. These things that, well, some smart people or guides or spiritual mentors are saying that we are putting on ourselves. And yes, we are in some way, because a trauma is only a trauma if you experience it that way. Meaning that the same 10 people can experience the exact same thing, but some will have traumas, some will not have traumas, because they experience it in a different way. And it all depends on how we grew up, how we learned life to be, and a lot of other things. So there's never just... And another thing about me is that I love to ask questions. When someone says something and we're like, this is concluded, like this is the way it is, I ask questions. And well, this has also been found out in science. This is not just some spiritual thing. It's also has been that way in science for a long, long time. Like, once we believed the earth was flat, and that was a fact, the earth was flat. Some wise people said so, and so we believed in that. So we gotta believe that the earth was flat. And many years later, we figured out that it wasn't flat. So this, and now I'm gonna call it a belief, this belief changed. Through hundreds of years, we have, or some doctors, as we call it, has been experimenting on the body to try to figure out how it worked. And even to this day, there are so many things we don't know about the body. We kind of know what's in it and how it functions, but there are still so many things about the body we do not know. And things where we have, some researchers has said, like, this is how it is. Until they then figured out that that was not exactly the way that it was. So I don't like to conclude things. I just give you my perspective and tell you that this is my truth. It might be different for you. We all have different truths. And also an advice I will give you is that there are so many spiritual teachers and coaches and great guides, and they're really great, they're professional, and they can help you so much. But a little caution is to not try to put them on this pedestal and make them like God so that you believe everything they say. Like, you can learn from them, take it in, experiment, find out if this is true for you. And if not, then it's okay. There's nothing wrong with you and there's nothing wrong with them. It wasn't a match for you. So what I teach people, or teach especially girls and women, is to listen to yourself. Because I know that deep down, you have the knowing, and you know the way, you know the truth to all the questions that you have. But we just haven't learned to tap into that. And so I teach people to ground themselves, to come down into the body, because we've learned to think. That's pretty much what we've learned since we were babies. Like, we learn to think, we learn to calculate, we learn so many great things about the world, but we are in our head. And that's why so many people right now are suffering from depression and stress and anxiety, because we are living in our head. We are living in our fears of the future and our traumas from the past, and that just rules up to this mental sicknesses that we call it. Because when you start to ground yourself, when you start to come down and feel your body and allow yourself to feel your body, to feel all of your emotions, because this is why we don't do it. We have so many unprocessed, uncomfortable emotions that we do not want to feel. So every time we experience emotions, we have learned to kind of step back from it. We hide it away because we don't want to feel it. But we have to, because otherwise they're just going to build up, and then they're going to explode, and then you're going to get a chronic depression or a stress or something like that, and it's going to ruin your life if you haven't experienced that already. I have been burned out several times. I have also dealt with some anxiety. I know some of this. It's not all talk. So yeah, that's kind of that is the consequence of you not doing this work. So if you're listening and you're like, oh, it's interesting, but yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to spend my time doing that, because you might feel like it's a waste of time. It's never a waste of time working on yourself. And especially, usually we do it because we're forced to. So maybe you lost someone, or maybe you got a depression or something like that, and you were forced to do this work. You were forced to take care of yourself. You were forced to feel these emotions. I want you to do that before. And this is the thing with young people, especially, that they think they have all the life ahead of them and they don't care so much about the future, which is in some way great. But if you don't eat well and you don't exercise and stay healthy on all levels, physical and mental and spiritual, you're gonna end up broken, burned out, depressed, and all of those things, and you're not gonna like it. So, and I don't know how else to, kind of convince you to that this work is important, because you have to experience it by yourself and on your own. So, yes. Okay, that was a kind of little bit longer introduction, but getting back on topic of, but still very important, that's why I keep it here, the relationship you have with yourself. So who are you towards yourself? Like, if you imagine yourself to be two people, how do you behave towards yourself? If you keep saying yes to helping everyone, and then you, at the end of the day, are you're completely bummed and you're tired and you're exhausted, and then you end up stressed because you never take care of yourself. You put everyone else first. Or, like I said before, if you made a mistake or something's not good enough, you're kind of hitting yourself in the head or punishing yourself in some way for making a mistake, so you won't do it again. Or like, so how are you towards yourself when you make a mistake? I want you to write the question down. I want you to answer it later when you have the time, because there are more. And this is also just to get to know yourself. So another one could be like, how are you with yourself, or how are you in your family? Like, who are you in your family? How are you towards your family? How do you feel about your family? If it's hard for you to show emotions, it's because you need to do some work on yourself. If it's hard for you to feel the love, again, there's something you have to work on in yourself. Never blame other people for something that you don't have or don't get. Never blame other people for something that you have or do not get. So if you're expecting love in a certain way from someone, don't blame them, because they're not mind readers. They don't know what you're thinking. They don't know how you like things unless you tell them to. So that was just really important, and this is on all levels, because the way to empowerment, to feel more empowered and to really learn and experience that you have the control and the power over your own life, is that you stop blaming other people. You stop saying, well, this happened and it was his fault and it was her fault, and this person did this and this person said that, and it was all against me. So don't point fingers. Don't blame other people. You have to start to take responsibility. And that means stop blaming, stop pointing fingers, and start to take responsibility. Because you're not responsible for other people. So don't say, hey, you did this wrong and you should do this instead and blah, blah, blah. Because you're not responsible for that. You're responsible for you. So, and that this is where the inner work comes. Start to turn inward, not in a blaming, again, not in a blaming fashion, but start to look inward at, okay, why am I being triggered by this? Why do I feel like this? Why is this affecting me? And then get back to the root, because behind all of that is an experience, is a trauma that you once had because someone once said something to you. And like, for example, someone said you were stupid, maybe not directly, but in a way that you felt stupid. And you believed that. So you started to tell yourself, I'm so stupid. And it's because I'm so stupid. But you're not. You're not stupid or not good enough or whatever it is that you have been telling yourself or other people have told you. It's a belief that you believed, and so you took it as your truth. And this is these layers also of suffering that I talked about before. When you start to release yourself and take these beliefs off that I'm not good enough, I'm not loved, I'm not wanted, I'm stupid. All of these labels that you are putting on yourself, you will start to feel more free. You will start to become more happy, because when you are feeling those things, you're not happy. That's kind of obvious, right? So when you stop feeling not good enough and stop feeling unloved and so on, you will start to feel more happy. Okay, so the relationship that you should have with yourself should be from love. So whatever you're feeling, whatever you are experiencing, embrace it with love. And it can be very hard. I have struggled with this a little bit. Many years ago, I experienced some not very good things, and you may have to like abuse once I was yelled at the phone and called by my boss and called a lot of ugly things, raped and things like that. And it can be very hard to forgive. It is very hard to forgive and embrace those experiences with love. But trust me that it's going to be much better when you do. And you're not forgiving or sending love because of what they did, because you kind of saying it's okay. You're not doing that. You're doing it to release yourself from this experience, to stop living in that past and living in that experience, because that might be stopping you from experiencing happiness and love now, because you've been hurt in the past and then you bring it into the future. So it's not accepting it and saying it was okay what happened. It is releasing yourself, kind of forgiving yourself for the fact that it happened, and releasing yourself from that experience. And I will definitely do another talk about that, because that is a huge topic and a very important topic. So I will talk about this forgiveness work and on how I did this and how I do it for the things that that has traumatized me in some way. So, but I'm not going to talk more about that now. So the relationship with yourself, like I said, should be embraced with love. So instead of hammering yourself, instead of punishing yourself, sit down with yourself, close your eyes, and be with love. And it's very, to me, in the beginning, this concept of love, of showing love and sending love, was very hard because I didn't know how to do it. So, but the way I kind of got the feeling, found the feeling, was to imagine a person that I really loved, or an animal, or something that I really truly felt deeply grateful and love towards, and then in that way cultivating it into and sending it to other people also. That's the forgiveness work, but also to myself. And what has taken me the longest, what was the most hard work, was to forgive myself. I forgave the people many years ago, but I still sometimes find like being hard on myself and kind of making it my fault that these things happened, because I should have done something differently. I should have said no. I should have done it differently. Like, it's me. It's all on me. So forgiving yourself is one of the most important things. And I find that I think I have done it, but I trick myself into thinking that I have done it, and then I find that I haven't, or find something new. So even if you have worked on something a lot and you think like, oh yeah, it's all great and I don't have it anymore and I've released from this trauma, it could be, not saying that it is, but it could be your mind tricking you into believing that it's done because it's too hurtful and too painful to look at. And in the beginning it's going to be very difficult, but it's necessary. And again, I'm definitely gonna do another podcast on this specific topic because it's huge, it's big, it's so important, and it's gonna affect you a lot. So that was basically the message. Give yourself more love. Show yourself more love. And when you're more loving to yourself, you will also be able to share it with others. So these questions that I gave you earlier about how are you with yourself, like what is your relationship with yourself? There are different areas of life where it would be very good for you to also do this, because this is just getting to know you and know yourself better. So like, how are you with money? This is a big one because a lot of us have issues with money. We don't make enough, and they just seem to disappear, or yeah, we tend to spend them on the wrong things, or we spend too much. So how are you with money? Like, what relationship do you have with money? If you have a partner, you can also have a question like, how am I with my partner? How do I show love? How do I show affection? So another thing, I'm also going to do a podcast on that, on loving other people, because we love people the way we want to be loved, not the way they want to be loved. So just a little note: show them love the way they want to be loved. Give them what they want, not what you want to give them or what you want them to have. Another relationship is with your kind of, I don't want to say religion, spirituality, but your belief. What do you believe in? And if you're here, you probably believe in something more than we can see, because you wouldn't be listening to me if you don't. So what is your relationship with faith. I have always been very spiritual, but I've had a lot of resistance towards religion because there's a huge history of violence, of killing, of war because of religion. So I don't see myself as religious. Yeah, so that's my relationship with spirituality or religion or faith or whatever you want to call it, whatever it is for you. So there might be like pros and cons. Write down both of them. This goes for all the questions. The pros that is about these relationships, and the not so good things about this relationship. So there are a lot more relationships that you can write on, and I really want you to journal, and I want you to do this for not just 5 minutes. Really take your time, start it up, and then maybe get back to it in a few days and look at it again, because maybe you got some. When we start working on something, that's what we focus on, and then new ideas, new thoughts come up, and like, oh yeah, this is also how I am. Or we notice patterns that we didn't see before, like we spend too much money on magazines or shoes that we don't really need, and then we end up throwing them out 3 years later. So we notice these patterns that we weren't aware of before. So, and to this inner work, what I learned from the beginning, this is more than 10 years ago when I started all of this, the very simple thing about personal growth and so on is awareness. The more aware you are, the more you can shed these things, these beliefs. Like, even if you don't have a certification within coaching, let's say, you can still be a coach and still be a good coach if you have awareness, if you ask questions. Like, awareness, ask questions, know more, like be interested, be curious. This is where all the growth comes from. This is where all the things that these great leaders and mentors and coaches have come up with is because of awareness. They've been asking themselves questions. They've been curious. They became more and more aware of how they were, who they were, how other people were, and how they responded, and what they were thinking, and their own thoughts, and all of these things. So just a few keywords: awareness, curiosity. Very, very important into any kind of this work, because I like to give homework because I'm a nerd, so I like to do it myself. So I give a lot of journaling homework, a lot of reflection and analyzing and things like that. And because the more you think about, the more you reflect and do this, the more, like I explained before, new ideas come up, and you'll notice these patterns. And I think I lost it a little bit. That's something I do too, by the way. A lot of times sometimes I lose track of what I was thinking, and I get distracted and so on. But that's me, and I accept who I am. I embrace who I am. And hopefully that's kind of my intention, is that by doing so, by allowing me to be myself and to show up and do the work that I really want to do, make the changes and the impact that I want, that you that it kind of allows you to do the same. Because I'm gonna get a little bit more into myself now, because I think I got done with the topic for today. But so a little personal history is that I grew up feeling different. Like I was born into the wrong world, like I was born in the wrong time. I didn't really get what was going on. I just felt like I didn't belong. I've always felt different. Actually, I even had to, that's why I study so much, because I had to study psychology, because I was like, I don't get other people. I don't get this. I don't get the world. I don't get what's going on. So I studied psychology and again the body and physiology and coaching and all of that, because I didn't get it. And I find that a lot of other people, and especially also you who, like me, are or have been suffering from depression and stress and anxiety, that you find a place here, or hopefully another place, that where you feel comfortable enough to be who you really are, to be yourself, and to allow yourself to make mistakes, to be weird, to be a nerd, to be goofy, to make fun, and not be too much. Because another thing that I'm working on personally with myself is to be truly me, because I, through these years of growing up, have learned that, you know, girls should be quiet, girls should just be nice, be sitting down, and they should be grow up and to be pretty, to be good wives, and they should be in a certain way, act in a certain way, and so on. You may resonate with this if you feel the same. So I kind of grew up like kind of a shy girl, and very much pleasing. Like really, it has taken me years, like these last 10 years, I still don't feel like I have completely released all of the people pleasing. I'm getting there, but people pleasing is so deeply into me, because I wanted to feel loved. I want to feel like I belong, because I felt so different. And we need to belong, especially as babies, because we won't survive if our parents don't like us. We're gonna die. So I think from a very, very early age, I started doing that, like as baby. So it's so deeply rooted in me that it's hard for me to break out of, because I really am. I have a lot of emotions, and I get very excited, and I get sad. I cry. I'm a crier. So I cry a lot, and over nothing, and like sometimes just I have no idea why. So, and I'm so clumsy. I tend to be very fast, so it's like I break things or I hurt myself. So I'm clumsy, and I'm definitely not perfect. You know, right now I'm sitting here looking at my nails. I've been biting my nails for years, but it's almost at the point where I don't anymore. But the thing is that when I have those stressful times, I put on the color, so I don't see it that much, and then I kind of tend to keep them, like, not. I won't fiddle with them, and then they start to break, and then I start to take them off. And I will wear those like half colored nails. Yeah, so just to let you know and show you that it's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to be weird. I'm very weird. In high school, people called me crazy, and I was like, I owned that. I told people, well, I'm just crazy. So I'm kind of trying to get back into that, because it's a side of me that I can't and shouldn't kind of suppress. And I have done that, been suppressing emotions and sides of myself for so long that I don't want to do it anymore. And it's just becoming unbearable. And maybe you feel the same way, or there's just a few things that you kind of like, you want to change. But again, it all goes back to feeling empowered, feeling strong, and you feeling confident. And you don't do that if you are suppressing some sides of you, because you are going to be afraid subconsciously that somebody's going to see that somebody is going to notice that you're not this sweet girl that everybody thinks you are, or you're not this smart girl that everybody thinks you are, or you're not this great leader that people think you are. So we get afraid and fearful that the rest of the world is going to see these mistakes of us, like biting your nails, or maybe you're picking your nose, or you're doing these weird or disgusting even things. But the truth is that we all do it. We all have these things or habits that we do that we are not proud of and that we're shameful about. And so again, my hope is that by me sharing the things that I do and being more me and coming into who I truly am more and more, because it's a never-ending process. I think it's a lifelong process, but doing that more and more is going to inspire you and help you to do the same. Because it hurts me watching young girls where I live and in the world, who are quiet. Like, they're just sitting in the corner and they're just looking and they're not moving. That's kind of the feeling of these uncertain, like they haven't been allowed to be themselves. They haven't been allowed to be too much. They haven't been allowed to express their emotions, because girls cannot be angry and they cannot be sad and so on. And just be like these quiet, so afraid to make a mistake, or so afraid to do something wrong that somebody's going to make a comment that is going to hurt them. This is what has been one of the big reasons that has been holding me back, was that when I was myself, or being a little bit too much, or said something that people didn't get, like I got this feeling of being wrong. I got this comment that was hurtful, and so I stopped doing that. So I just went quiet. So what I am learning, and still, like I said, to this day, still learning, becoming better and better, is to just say fuck that. Like, whatever they are expressing on me is theirs. It's not me. It's not mine. I don't have to take it. I don't have to take the comment personally. I can just say, well, fuck you. This is your problem, not mine. But I took it all in and on myself, because I am so sensitive. I am very sensitive. I'm highly sensitive. If you don't know what it is, I'm also going to make a podcast on that one. I am also an empath, which means that I feel everything. And also being sensitive, I feel everything more than most people. So I feel feelings more intense, and I feel the very subtle energies. So these comments that, and this is something going around in my close relationships, that these comments that people find funny, and they said, oh, don't take it personally, it was just for fun. Where I'm like, well, you wouldn't say it if you didn't mean anything by it. It wouldn't be a thought in your head unless you actually meant it. And also because I'm feeling the intention behind it. So I can feel if people are just, if it's just for fun, or if they mean mean it with love. And I can also feel it if they come from a hurtful place, from a negative place. So, and that's also something, how being an empath is also going to be on another podcast. I'm also an introvert, a lot, if you didn't notice. So that's also going to be some of the topics that I will explore on this podcast, like these traumas, releases, everything about mental health, being sensitive, being spiritual, being an empath, being introvert. Body image is also a very big one. Self-love is one of my biggest ones, because it's the most important thing, and it's where all this work that I'm sharing with you comes down to loving yourself. Putting yourself first. Giving yourself what you need so you can give to others, because you cannot give from nothing. The very famous or popular expression is, you cannot give from an empty cup. So if you keep pouring out to everyone else, there's nothing left in the end, and then you can't give anymore. And it's a lot better to give from energy, from a huge supply of energy, than from a half empty cup, which is almost like burning out, or it's like is completely empty. So you can help better and in a much better way when you are in a better place. You'll be able to share the love, to help, to connect, to be happy, which is what you deep down want. Okay, so I think I'm gonna start to wrap this up. So you got your homework. As soon as this video ends, I want you to stop everything else you're doing, or everything that you were gonna do, and just take at least 30 minutes to answer these questions that I gave you, and journal on those. Like I said, leave it, come back to it, and then do it again. And actually, the full exercise is that when you have written down all the pros and cons and everything about these relationships, is that you find out which one of these patterns that you want to keep, and which ones you want to delete. So cross over the ones that you don't want anymore and replace them with new ones. Meaning that if you in a relationship get jealous, like if you have a boyfriend and you always get jealous, or you ask questions when he's going out, like, where are you going, who are you going out with, and if someone touches him, you're like, why did she touch you? And just an example. You don't want to be that kind of girlfriend, because it's gonna end at some point. So cross the ones over that are unhealthy, the ones that you do not want, and circle the ones that you are doing now that are good enough. And if there's some that you would like, that you don't already have but you would like, make those like new ones. And then for the next week or the next month, work on those, focus on those, learn how to become better at this if you need someone to teach you, if you don't already know, and then start doing that, doing the work. So this was fun. I love doing these, and I love again so I am very introvert, but I love sharing my knowledge. I love sharing my stories, because I know the impact that it can have on others, because I know how much it influences me when I am listening to other people's stories, when I'm watching videos, and when I'm hearing people's stories. Again, it makes us feel connected. It makes us feel maybe not alone, and not weird, not wrong, but we actually feel like like we're a part of, like we're connected, like we are not wrong. That is, yeah, basically the best way I can put it. Like, you're not the only one. I am like this too. I do weird things too. And one of them is, if you've noticed during this podcast, is that one of them is I do this sometimes. I don't know why. It's just a thing that comes up. And another thing is this sniffing thing. I haven't done it now because I'm wearing a headset, but in real world reality and on videos I do it. And it's usually because I feel like there's so much in my nose. It's like, anyway, I hope that you resonated with at least some of the things I had to say. Do the homework. It will only benefit you. So not doing it will only be bad for you. So don't do it for me, do it for you. I cannot tell you what to do. Again, this is empowering women. You should feel empowered, so nobody's going to tell you what to do. I'm just sharing experiences and advice and some work, and then you can do what feels right for you. Learn to listen and find out what is right for you. All right, I'm gonna stop now. I hope you liked this video. If you did, like or subscribe or whatever, wherever you see this. If you have any questions, you're welcome to add them in the comments somewhere or give me a text or something. And yeah, I'll see you next time. And I hope you have an amazing, great, wonderful day. If not, then start creating it. I'll see you later. Bye.